It's very impressive. At the age of 32, you already accumulated 60 lakhs, and maybe in like by the age of 35, you will probably have a crore. 1.5 crores for your own retirement. How did you calculate this 1.5 crore?
Because I wanted to move back to my native, so their expenses will be very low for me.
Very interesting. Yeah? Very different aspirations in life. What are you thinking of teaching your kid?
She wants to become the pilot. That is the big trouble for me, and she is not my own child. She is my niece, and I have adopted her.
Sharan, I'll tell you one thing that probably Suraj is not contemplating right now. Current planning is only done for the niece, but they are expecting another child.
Oh, googly. But now it's getting difficult.
You are extremely overly diversified. 42 stocks, I don't know how do you really track and manage. Second, you've got 23 funds. And if you have 23 mutual funds that you've invested in, even after removing duplications, you probably would have 750 stocks that you've invested in.
Surya, how did you end up investing in so many mutual funds?
The social media contact only, you can say, the YouTube, and then reach to that positions, I think, Sharan, yeah.
Looks like you've been watching the wrong kind of videos. You've not been following the man. Kirtan, if I ask you, what is the kind of CAGR you have achieved in your mutual fund portfolio over the last 20 years?
While we are recording this, and in spite of Nifty falling 15%, I am still sitting at a decent.
Hey, hi Surya, how are you doing today?
I'm very good. What about you, Sharan?
I'm good. We also have Kirtan Shah here today, who is a wealth manager with almost 10 years of experience. And both of us, we will try to help you manage your finances better. But before we get started with that, can you please give us a quick introduction about yourself? What do you do? Just for the audience to understand who we are talking to today.
Myself, Suryabhushan Kumar. Normally people call me Suraj. And currently I am based out of Hyderabad, and I have almost 8 years of experience in software development. Right now I am working as a software lead engineer. And here with me, I stay with my spouse. So I started investing in 2018 through mutual funds. I started with 5,000 rupees SIP that time in regular fund, but later on I switched to direct, and now I think almost 40,000 rupees per month I do in mutual funds, as well as some direct stocks also. I think accumulated, I have given you brief, it's almost 60 lakhs rupees.
Cool. Surya, so perfect. That sets the great context. So you're living in Hyderabad, you're living with your spouse, and you're already investing 40,000 rupees per month, which is quite a lot of money already to be investing every month.
Sure.
So I'm looking at your cash flow situation. So you are currently making post-tax 1.5 lakh rupees per month. Your monthly expenses is 50K per month. What all includes in this monthly expenses, 50,000 rupees per month?
So everything, it includes, Sharan, like my daily expenses, my commute, and the household expenses, giving money for my niece's study. So it's everything
Nice.
is
What
taken
about
care
rent?
here. Yeah, rent also taken care into that. So I pay, I think, 18,000 per month rent.
Wow. And what kind of a house is this? 18,000 per month rent?
It's 1 BHK, Sharan, but it is in Hyderabad, post high-tech city, so it is little costly, I feel, for me.
18,000 per month, 1 BHK, you're saying it's costly.
Correct.
Don't come to Mumbai. Cool. And I'm seeing that you have some compulsory investments of 3,500 rupees per month. What is this?
So that is actually LIC. I taken, I think, 6 years back, and it's continuing. It's very long commitment, actually, Sharan. 35 years I have to pay, I think.
We'll come to that. Your loan EMI is 10,000 rupees per
Per
month. What kind of loans do you have?
So it is my education loan to do my BTech I have taken. So I think 1.5 years still it is going. But I can pay, I think almost 1.8 lakh is there. I can pay in 2-3 months if I want to pay. But still I'm giving 10,000 per month, it is going. So I'm just continuing on that, Sharan. So I have one gold kind of SIP. So it is going every month at 12,000 rupees because spouse wanted their jewelry. So I'm investing there as well. And so if you...
Some gold investment scheme?
Yes.
So properly tell me, how much are you able to save every month after all your expenses? Is that
I think
40,000
almost
rupees?
50,000 rupees, 55,000 rupees. Yes.
55,000 rupees we can save, correct? And you're
55,000
saying,
plus. Yes.
so there is about some credit card expenses also you're saying. So I'm going to add that here. So
Every month
if I,
almost 10,000.
correct. So that means 56,000 rupees per month is your saving surplus. Now let's go to your net worth. So your net worth is 60 lakh 55,000 rupees. This is correct?
Correct.
But what is your age today?
I am 32 years old today.
That's very impressive. At the age of 32, you already accumulated 60 lakhs. And maybe in like by the age of 35, you will probably have a crore. Right? It looks like you can achieve
Hoping
that
for
very
it.
soon.
Next 5
Right?
years, I am hoping for it. Yes. And
You'll become a crorepati. Will that make you like the first crorepati of the family?
I
Or
feel
are
so,
there
yes,
other?
because father is very
Yeah?
humble guy and he was doing the daily wage work. So yeah, I
Wow.
feel little better. Yeah.
You will be the first crorepati of the family.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's true.
Wow. Now let me look at your individual assets. You don't own a house. Good. You have other real estate of 10 lakhs. We'll come to that soon. You have jewelry of 6 lakhs. This I'm assuming it's your spouse.
Yes.
Sovereign gold bond 26,000. ULIP 6 lakhs. Provident fund 13.2 lakhs. Fixed deposit 1.5 lakhs. Debt funds 50,000 rupees. Indian stock market 7.8 lakhs. Indian mutual funds 15.5 lakhs. US stock market 80,000 rupees. Savings account 1.5 lakhs, right? And you have an outstanding education loan of 2 lakhs. Now, if I look at your current asset allocation, it is saying 50% is in the Indian market, 20% is in real estate, 30% is in debt. So this is like your, on an average, this is how it is divided. 1% US equity, that is insignificant right now.
Correct.
Cool. So maybe first we can understand what is this other real estate that you own?
Okay,
Worth
so
10 lakhs?
it's a land, Sharan, which I taken near to my hometown. So one university has come, Central University, so near of that, we have taken that one. It cost around right now 20 lakhs rupees, I think. But yeah, when I purchased, it was almost 10 lakhs.
Okay. So that means your net worth is actually 70 lakhs.
Yeah, in
Okay.
that
So
sense,
this real estate investment seems like it was a good investment. You've doubled your money in how many years?
I think almost 6 years now. Yeah, 6
Double
years.
your money in 6 is actually not that great. It's like an
Yeah.
FD return then. I think now maybe we can go to his financial goals. So, but before I get into that, Kirtan, any initial thoughts?
I think a couple of things, if I have to very immediately say, specifically two things, if I look at the cash flows, right? I am a very firm believer, Suraj, that you should have close to 30% of your income as maximum EMIs that you will pay out, 30% as expense, and the remaining 40% should get invested. First suggestion is, I don't know if at all that's possible or not, because there are a lot of moving parts here while we were discussing, but I think you have the scope to increase your investments every month.
I think straight away, if I had to look at it, is he talked about his compulsory investment in an insurance product.
Yeah.
This probably is a money back plan or a, what is this? Is it a money back policy?
Money back policy, Sharan. I am not big fan, but just because of her spouse, I have to run it because his family member only given it.
Oh, okay. Family member only has sold it, so that person is making commissions out of your money, and it's a family obligation you're telling.
Correct.
But I would say that is, if I were you, I would stop it. Either try to surrender the policy or pay it up, right? That depends on the tenure of the policy and the details of that policy. So I would like you to go through your policy document and read it properly.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two is your loan EMIs. I think it's fine, very very manageable, 10,000 rupees. Credit card is also fine. But you are going to move to Pune, due to which your expenses will increase. I don't think your rent will remain 18,000 rupees for sure. So you need to optimize expenses in other ways.
My suggestion is, if I look at your current asset allocation, out of the 70 lakhs of net worth that you hold, okay, you have 30% in real estate and you have 25% in fixed income, which allows only 45% of your investments in equity, which I think is a very, very low equity investment. So if you are somebody, and because I've seen your portfolio and hence making this comment, if you're somebody who's okay to do mid cap, small cap kind of investing, and you've done that by picking mutual funds and stocks, 40-45% in equity for an investor like you is very low.
Yeah.
Right. So my suggestion to you is, because you already have so much of EPF and voluntary provident fund and all of that, try and avoid doing a lot of fixed income investment outside of that, because you already have 13,20,000 there, and it's only going to keep increasing for you, right? Because you are salaried and that's a compulsory part of the investment that will keep going. Don't do a larger amount of fixed income investment outside of that, unless it's a tactical bet that you've taken that, you know, markets are going down or you want to be slightly more on the liquid side.
But I think once we go into the details of his financial goals, we will know exactly how much he should put in equity.
Yeah.
So let us go through each of these financial goals one by one. So there is 1 short-term and 3 long-term goals. You don't have an emergency fund yet? I'm sure you have.
1.5 lakhs is there into that fixed deposit. Because of that only I have kept it, and almost 1 lakh plus always in my savings account. So 2.5 lakhs around I am keeping always.
Wait, let's do a quick math. You are spending how much? Almost 1 lakh rupees a month.
Yes.
1 lakh rupees into 6 months is 6 lakhs. So your emergency fund should be 6 lakhs. But you've said you only need 3.5 lakhs, which is not correct.
Yeah, that is what. So I realized, and then I started, like, because of that, I need to have some savings there also. So yeah.
So what I would do is I will put 6 lakhs here. Minimum you need 6 lakhs. Okay. And I think you already have this 6 lakhs. So I'm going to allocate, because you're already having a net worth of 67 lakhs. Out of the 67 lakhs, 6 lakhs you can straight away allocate to emergency fund. And that you should not, if you have the money for emergency fund, get done with that immediately, right? So that you can focus on other things. Emergency fund is as important as your health insurance and life insurance, which I'm sure you already have. Now coming to the more interesting parts. So you have kids education, kids marriage. So kids education, you've written 50 lakhs. What are you thinking of teaching your kid?
One, so I think she is going to study aeronautics. She wants to become the pilot.
What
now
pilot?
She is already in 8th standard. That is the big trouble for me. And she is not my own child. She is my niece, and I have adopted her.
Very interesting. So now she is living with you.
Not living with me, living with her parents only, but everything I am taking care.
So okay, you're like sponsoring everything, all your
Educations and
niece's
marriages
expenses.
and everything I need to do for her. So that is the, I will not say headache, but yeah, I taken myself. So yeah.
Of course, you are like the breadwinner of the whole extended family as well.
Yeah.
So 50 lakhs for that, and then kids marriage it's the same niece.
Yes.
Okay, 30 lakhs for the wedding as per today's value of money.
Yeah.
And then 1.5 crores for your own retirement. How did you calculate this 1.5 crore?
Because I wanted to move back to my native from once I job done. So their expenses will be very low for me.
Where is the native
it
place?
is 15,000. It is Bodh Gaya, Bihar.
Bihar, okay. So your plan is you will work for 13 more years and then retire and go back to Bihar.
Correct. That is what I'm planning, because that land I have taken and I will construct my own house there and I will stay there.
Very interesting. Very different, aspirations in life. Most people think like, I will settle in a big city. But yours ulta. You're like, I'll go to a big city, make a lot of money, and then go to a small town and then retire. Because of which you can only work for 13 more years and then you're done.
Suraj, I really want to leave you with a thought here, because I see a lot of people wanting to achieve the FIRE number, right? What a lot of people don't understand, may not be your case, but maybe through this podcast, a lot of others who are watching us, mathematically, if your number turns out to be 1 crore 50, I would suggest you aim for 50% higher, right?
Sure,
because there are so many variable and moving parts that you don't know what it'll look like 13 years from today, right?
So going back to this, okay, so let's make this 2.25 crores then. Okay, so this is your FIRE number if you were to retire today, but obviously you're not retiring today.
Sharan, I'll tell you one thing that probably Suraj is not contemplating right now, is that current planning is only done for the niece. But
yes,
they are expecting another child.
very good, Kirtan. Yes,
Right.
another
So,
part I missed.
Googly.
Yeah.
So how many? But you have to save for the kids' education and kids' marriage also, right?
Yeah.
So
Of
there
course,
two
we'll
things
have
again.
we'll
yes.
have a larger time frame.
We have a larger time frame, so we will put 20 and 25, and then we will repeat these amounts,
Yeah.
right? But now it's getting difficult. It is getting difficult. Let's see what we can do. So first, for this, we will finish this off. 21 lakhs. Okay, so 1 lakh left. So this we will put here as 11 lakhs. We'll see what happens, right? So now this inflation also we'll keep it as 8% here and 8% here. Obviously, you have nothing left to give here. So now we get to know the full picture. Yeah, amazing. So this is what you need. You need 44 lakhs more for your niece's education, 33 lakhs more for your niece's wedding, 3.7 crores for your own retirement, 2.3 crores for your own child's education, and 2 crore for your own child's marriage. These are the things that you have to save. Now let's come to step up. So can I assume that you can increase your savings by 10% every year?
Will be hard, Sharan. Right now, so I can
So I'll make it 7%. 7% increase every year I'll keep.
Yeah, that we can. Yes.
We can make this assumption, right? Now our job is to calculate what is the SIP amount that you require for each of these goals. Now we have to calculate. Obviously for emergency fund, nothing is left because you have already saved up for it. Now one by one, we have to calculate how much you need. So for that, we will use our 1% club tool, the SIP calculator tool. So if I do step up SIP and if I do a 7% yearly SIP step up, and let's start with the first goal, which is how many years away? 8 years away. So we needed how much? We need to save 44 lakh rupees in 8 years. So what is this saying? You need to, let's say if you invest 25,000 rupees per month, you're getting 48 lakhs. So let's say 20,000 rupees per month, 22,000 rupees per month. Yeah. So if I invest 22,000 rupees per month, this one is sorted. So ये हो गया. Understood? Kids, niece's education is done. And now you still have 34,000 left. Because that is out of 56,000 monthly savings that you can have, 22,000 gone for niece's education. Now let's come to your niece's marriage. You need 33 lakhs in 10 years.
almost 8 to 10 years. Yes, sir.
Yeah, 10 years. So let's make this 10. By the way, my return percentage I've assumed as 12%, which is a reasonable post-tax returns to make. Right? So if I make this 10 years, how much do I need? How much did you need? You needed 33 lakhs.
Right
So
now,
let's put half of this. Yeah, I think 32 lakhs will come. So if I make 11,000 rupees, this is done. End of story. Now let's come to your retirement. 3.7 crores, but you have only 13 years. I think this will be definitely difficult, but let's try with the amount of money that you have left. You have 23,000 rupees left to invest every month for the next 13 years. So now 3.7 CR, if you do 22,000 rupees, 23,000 rupees per month if you do, and if I increase it by 7% for 12 years, right?
13.
Yeah, it's
13.
12 years, 12, 13 years.
So that only helps you make 1 crore 14 lakhs 72,000 rupees. So nahi hoga. Unfortunately.
So
nahi
let's say I just did some calculation. If 12,000 a month is going towards NPS and NPS is making, let's say, 10% also.
Is that what it is? 12,000 rupees is going to NPS every month?
Yes, sir. And that is what I given the input. Every month it is going. Yeah.
That you should stop.
That will still end up generating some 40 lakhs for him when he retires after 13 years, assuming that continues.
But I think he should stop NPS and instead park it here, because NPS will give you at best how much? 10% returns. And plus, it's not like, it's tax free. At the end, they will ask you to take an insurance plan and then they'll tax that amount as well. So it's very complicated and messy, if you ask me. What is your opinion?
One doubt I have, Kirtan, and both you can give me the input. So for me, now I'm almost in 30% bracket. So it helps me directly 30% rebate means it gives me like almost 70,000-80,000 rebate from there. So for that purpose, I have taken it. What do you feel, both of
I
you?
know that, but I want to show you a very interesting slide that we show to people who have this opinion.
In the meanwhile, if I can tell you a couple of things, look, this is
Okay.
personal finance, right? At the end of the day, you got to decide what makes more sense to you.
Sure.
But NPS has its own challenges. You will not be able
That's
to
true.
remove money whenever you want. I think if I'm not wrong, you're only allowed to remove 25%, 25%, and that too in a maximum of 3
Investment.
tranches,
Yes.
right? That's also only on your investment and not the returns that you've generated.
Correct.
Yeah.
You have a compulsory annuity buyout that you will have to do
40%.
when you retire, right? So there are challenges in itself, but does that make sense? Is very individualistic, very
So
honestly.
I just want to show you this slide.
Okay.
And you tell me, right? Because you said that you are in the 30% income bracket, correct? So I just want to show you a comparison between two people. Let's say you invested in NPS 50,000 rupees per month, and another version of you invested only 34,400 rupees per month in mutual funds. Why? Because the second version of you had to pay 30% tax. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? So now look at this. If I assume that NPS gives 10% returns, whereas a mutual fund portfolio given me 15% returns, which I think is very much possible as well. There are many examples of mutual funds which have given 20-22% CAGR in the last 20 years. But even if I go lower and make it 15% CAGR, you can see the difference in the value over here right away. Even though this is only 34,000 rupees per month versus NPS is 50,000 rupees per month, NPS ended up giving you only 55 lakh rupees at the age of retirement versus a mutual fund, a invested mutual fund corpus has given you 85 lakh rupees. And then you will be like, okay, Sharan, but I have to pay taxes. Even after paying taxes, you are having 73 lakh rupees. But in the case of NPS, you have 54 lakh rupees, out of which only 32 lakhs is tax free. The 21 lakh rupees, you will have to pay tax. And it's not going to be given to you in one shot. You will be given it in a monthly basis or a yearly basis.
Correct. Yes.
See, I'll tell you another problem with NPS, right?
Anuj.
Which a lot of people don't understand. So you will have a lot of people who on social media will tell you that my NPS fund was able to deliver index kind of returns and all of that. Then why should I do index investing? I should rather do NPS. But the biggest challenge of NPS is that at no point in time you're allowed to invest more than 75% in equity. So if you've got 100 rupees, 75% goes to equity and 25% goes to fixed income. So on your 100 rupees of your investment, you will never be able to make index kind of returns. Always understand this. So if you've got 13, 14, 15, 20, 25 years to invest, on your 100 rupees of investment, you will never be able to make index kind of returns. And hence, an index will always do far superior, hopefully, over the long term in context of equity versus the 75 equity and 25% debt in NPS will ever do.
Not just that, NPS majorly invest in large cap mutual funds or large cap stocks. So you will not get a lot of exposure in mid cap companies. Correct. And those are typically going to be faster growing, especially if you're looking at a 20-year kind of a horizon. It is better to sort of manage your own mutual fund portfolio and invest in index fund, mid cap funds and multi cap funds. But if you're working with Kirtan, you can also get some sectoral exposure based on his experience and really get in the high teens in terms of returns. But NPS, the max you can expect is like 10% returns.
Correct.
So now, but at the end of the day, it's personal finance, right? NPS is like more stress-free in nature. Mutual funds, you'll have to, put a little bit more of your effort.
Correct.
But if the difference is so much, in like 20 lakhs ka difference, I think it's worth putting a little bit of time.
Okay,
right?
I will consider that.
So coming back to this though, we still have a problem. Now the problem is that even if you invest your remaining money, 23,000 rupees per month, Surya, you will still have only 1.14 crores. So what is the solution here, Kirtan? And I'm sure Surya is not the only person who's facing this kind of a problem.
Yeah.
They are like, okay, I saved for my kids' education. This is done okay. I'm saving for my kids' marriage, fine. But now when I'm saving for my own self, for my own retirement, even if I invest all the remaining savings that I have, I need 3.7 crores, but I can only accumulate 1 crore 15 lakhs. Now, obviously, Surya wants to retire in the next 13 years.
Yeah.
What is your recommendation?
NPS also coming the same thing, 12,000 if you include Sharan?
If
No,
I
so-
include that 12,000
So
as
we
well,
can do 23 plus 12. Yeah.
so let's say 35,000,
Yeah.
then I think the game will change for you.
Because
Not
that
much.
I will invest only.
Not much. It becomes 1.75 CR.
13
Kirtan,
and a
if I ask you, what in your own portfolio, what is the kind of CAGR you have achieved in your mutual fund portfolio over the last 20 years?
So I have been investing rigorously, if I say, without even a single SIP getting bounced, is 15 years now.
What is your CAGR?
And today, while we are recording this, and in spite of Nifty falling 15%, I am still sitting at a decent 19.5% CAGR on my portfolio.
So that is some god level kind of investing. Let's say we are Kirtan Shah here, and if you put 19%, that is also not enough for him to retire.
So look, realistically,
Okay.
it is going to be slightly difficult. But I'll tell you, Suraj, something very interesting that we are not anticipating at this point in time. You know, for the kind of work that you are doing, I'm assuming that your scale of growth in terms of salary is going to be far higher.
Yeah.
Right. So what I want you to understand, take this simple math. Let's say today you are at a lakh and a half every month after deducting for NPS and all the taxes and all of that, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming somebody like you will easily be able to do more than 10% hike in the salary year after year. Correct me if I'm wrong in my assumption, but a skilled employee like you should easily be able to do upwards of 10%. Right?
Also, you're moving to Pune and all. Obviously, the pay scale there is higher. It's a more expensive city. So you should be able to get, higher hikes. I don't know why.
But I'll tell you another interesting part. So let's say if I have to assume, to keep the math simple, right, that on a 1.5 lakh a month, if I'm able to do 10% higher the next year in terms of income, right? So I'm looking at an income of 165, right? Now, when we say 7% step up, okay, we are considering 7% step up on the SIP amount.
Correct.
So if his SIP is 50, right, we are talking about a step up of 3.5%. 3,500.
Yes.
Right. Now the 3,500 is so you have to look at it in terms of context. So my salary went up by 15,000, but my SIP went up by only 3,500.
Correct.
Right. But if my expenses don't go up at the same pace, I have a huge scope to increase my SIP.
Correct.
That's
Huge
true,
scope.
Kirtan. Yes.
So which means you can increase it by more than 7%. I think if you can increase your salary by 7%, let's say.
Yeah.
So 1,50,000 becomes like how much? It increases by almost 7,000-8,000 rupees.
Yeah.
Right? But if you are saying that your savings will also increase by only 7%, that is just 3,500. Potential is to increase by 7,000 rupees. But you are saying you can only increase it by 3,500. So as long as your expenses don't increase drastically, you can increase your savings by more than 7%. I hope that kind of makes sense.
Sure, yeah.
Then increase it by 5 more years, work for 5 more years, because then it becomes very easy. Because if I do that, then boom, you have 6 crores. So let's do one thing. Because you can save 6 crores, we can actually save up some money for your kids' education and kids' marriage. So now we can reduce this by a lot.
20. Yeah.
Yeah. So just 20,000 rupees per month, you have gotten your retirement also done.
Sorted.
Khatam. Okay.
Sure,
So
right.
now you have, how much is that? Yeah. So we need to add that money because we said that
Yes.
he is not going to do NPS anymore.
Yeah.
So what we can do is here we can reduce by, what is it? NPS?
12,000 a month.
12,000. So we'll make this 3,500.
Yeah.
So you have still 10,000 rupees left.
Yeah.
Now let's understand, for your kids' education, you need 2.3 CR 20 years later. What I would do is, education you can take a loan, but marriage you can't take a loan. So maybe we'll put the entire remaining amount for the kid's marriage, and then he will have close to 2 crores here.
Yeah.
And then this, unfortunately, you will have to take a loan. Because that's all you have.
Yeah.
That's also okay.
That's not a bad plan, because education loans are cheap and comes with a lot of tax benefits.
But of course, I'm sure all of us are on the same page that given a situation, we would want to focus on the education more than the marriage. So
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
true.
lower
That's
the maybe
just-
lower the budget for the
Yeah.
marriage, make it 10 lakhs and then allocate more here. Basically, you can keep playing around with these.
Or just spend for the education and tell the child to take care of her
Marriages, you take care. I
marriage
believe.
by
Her or him, he doesn't know yet.
That's true. That's true, Sharan.
So fantastic. So that is it. So that is how you will do your SIP. Now, this tool will tell you exactly how to divide between various asset classes based on some thumb rules that we have. So basically, you need to follow this: 47,600 rupees per month going to Indian market, 6,800 rupees per month to US equity, 6,800 rupees per month to FD and bonds, and 6,800 rupees per month to gold. And if I look at your net worth sheet, finally, we now know what is your ideal asset allocation. And as Kirtan was saying, currently only 44% of your money is in the Indian market as per the tool and as per your own financial goals. The tool is saying that you need to have 64% in Indian market, almost 10% in the US market, 18% in FD or bonds, and 9% in gold. But this is, like the level 2 that we have reached. Now, level 3 is to go deeper and understand what have you exactly done in the Indian market. So let's go deep into that. Because honestly, when we saw this for the first time, we were like, what the hell is happening? Right? And here, Kirtan is the expert and he is going to go a full deep dive on all the stocks and mutual fund investments that you've done, because you've done a lot. So Kirtan,
Yes.
do you want to go ahead?
Suraj, I have multiple suggestions here.
Yes.
You are extremely overly diversified. 42 stocks. I don't know how do you really track and manage 42
Yeah, ideal
stock
number is
investments.
not more than 8 to 10 because you don't have the time to do research of more than 8 to 10, considering you are also working in a 9 to 5 job as well.
Yeah.
Correct.
One. Second, you've got 23 funds, 23 mutual funds. I don't know. And I keep telling a lot of people, the reason why you invest in a mutual fund is because there are 5,000 stocks listed. You want somebody to come and tell you that these are the 60, 70 stocks out of those 5,000 stocks who are going to end up doing well, right? And that's the advantage of having a mutual fund on board. But each of these mutual funds have 50, 60 stocks that they've invested in. And if you have 23 mutual funds that you've invested in, even after removing duplications, you probably would have 750 stocks that you've invested in. How are you going to end up doing justice to the investing that you're doing? You are extremely overly diversified. If you're going to stay invested in 750 or 1,000 stocks through the 23 mutual funds that you've invested in, you are never going to be able to do a good job.
Correct.
Seriously need to come down on your mutual fund holding to as low as only 4 or 5 funds. That's it, right?
Which are those 4 or 5 fund categories at least? We can't give names of the funds.
Yeah,
but
so
categories.
I am somebody who believes that you should have 33% large cap, 33% mid cap, 33% small cap. When I say large cap, you can have 33% large caps as flexi cap funds. So let's say 33% of your funds are flexi cap funds, 33% of your funds are mid cap funds, and 33% are small cap. I'll give you a brilliant data so that you understand what am I saying. When you do this bifurcation, Sharan.
His is right now pretty much similar, but mid cap is 12%. Yeah, he's pretty much following that rule.
Yeah.
Which is good, but he has done it across how many?
Across 23 funds.
23 funds.
Now, let's say when you invest in an alpha fund or a quality fund or a value fund, what are you expecting? You are expecting that they will at least be able to do better than the index.
Alpha, I want alpha.
You want alpha,
Yeah.
right? Or when you say value, you probably anticipate that you're going to take less risk. Or let's say low volatility, you're going to take less risk. Or let's say quality, you're going to take less risk. I'm going to give you some very interesting data. From the 52-week high, Nifty has fallen close to 14.5%.
Correct.
Okay?
As of today.
As of today, while we are recording this.
Yeah.
Nifty 50 Value 20,
Okay.
one of the factor funds,
22%,
Okay.
I think.
has fallen 18%.
18%. Okay.
Nifty 100 Quality 30 is down 21%.
Okay.
So these names like quality, value, while you are expecting them to do lower risk and probably better than the index, right? They are actually falling much more than the index.
But why is that happening?
See, because a lot of us don't really understand. These are themes, right? These are actually things. Index in itself is a thing. In my
Hmm.
opinion, index is a momentum fund, right? Because what does index do?
The top 50, the top large 50.
The index, what index is doing is it removes the stocks that are not performing and adds the stocks that are performing. That's
Correct.
index, right?
Which is like a momentum only.
Correct. So all of these passive so-called index or factor
Factor
or all,
funds, huh?
these are very theme specific. You have to be very cognizant of the fact of when to take which theme in which market situation.
Okay.
Because if you're just going to invest saying that this is index, right? And the name says quality, so I'm going to invest in even better quality within the index. But it only works in certain situations and does not work in all situations.
So basically you need to know when to time it.
Yes.
To enter these kind of funds. So it's for a very advanced investor who
Absolutely.
knows how to time it.
Absolutely. It's not for everybody, right? Because
So
you might
Surya,
get carried away with the names.
Surya, how did you end up investing in so many mutual funds? Like, are you watching some social media content? Like, how is this happening?
That's true. The social media contact only, you can say the YouTube, and then reach to that positions, I think, Sharan. Yeah. That is
Looks like you've been watching the wrong kind of videos.
no.
You've
Yeah,
not been
that's okay.
following the man.
Yeah, but latter part of my life, I started following you, Kirtan, and then Variku, I think, and then BBLB and all. Then I realized like I have done some mistakes, so I stopped it and moved to that. And your course also taught me something. So now I segregated all the things and accumulated only 5-6, I think, fund now. But I will kind of move forward with that. But still, I think as Kirtan is saying, I think still I need to do some work on that.
Suraj, I'm going to give you a suggestion here. Okay. I can tell you over the last, at least the last 4 or 5 years, I would have evaluated 1,000 plus portfolios. Okay. Personally, I'm saying, forget about the team. The first question that I typically get when I get back to the client saying that you will have to exit these funds. They're like, oh, I'll have to pay a tax.
Yeah, that's all.
And I've done math, and I can tell you with my general understanding with these 1,000 portfolios and the math that I would have done, if you exit the wrong funds, okay, the impact on your portfolio, overall portfolio of the tax of exiting is not more than 1.5-2%. So let's say if you've got 20 funds, and if I ask you to exit 15 funds, the taxation on these 15 funds is 2% of your overall portfolio one time. Now my question to everybody that I talk to, that isn't it logical that you pay 2% tax of your overall portfolio once and correct your portfolio
in one shot,
then underperforming year after year for as long as you're going to hold
like you're dragging it out?
Yeah, so please don't consider tax as a problem to get out of
an
investment where you've understood that you made a mistake.
Yeah, tax, so anyway you will have to pay at the end of the day.
That's true.
Whether you want it or not, you're just delaying the tax payment.
Do you suggest me to go all in mid-cap through index fund, Kirtan?
Yes, you very well can. But I'll tell you what the problem with...
He's asking if in the mid-cap sector, can you go all in into an index instead of active funds?
I will tell you a big problem. And I will tell you, I don't think anybody in our space talks about this. While this is not a very, very social media friendly advice, the problem in mid-cap investing is that you will always have expensive index in the mid-cap space.
That's true. Yeah.
Basically, you're saying if you directly invest in the mid-cap index, the overall valuation of the top 150 companies, if you invest everything, it will be too expensive for you.
100% expensive.
But if you give it to an actively managed mid-cap fund manager, they will find undervalued stocks in the mid-cap segment. 65% of the money goes there. And the remaining money can also go into large cap and small cap.
Yes, which is not possible in index investing. And with the kind of money flowing in the mid-cap and the small cap space, this may not be a problem in the small cap space because the universe is large.
But mid-cap to 100%.
Mid-cap is 150 stocks. Whenever markets fall, an active fund will definitely do much better than an index fund.
Interesting.
So if you look at the last, let's say the last 6 months, an actively managed fund would have done much better than the index. But when the markets are going up, right, you will typically see an index do slightly better than the actively managed funds.
Cool, Surya. I think that is a lot of questions answered. How was your experience?
All my financial questions was answered, and I'm very happy to come to know like still I have to do a lot of work on my financial, and I can achieve with your guys' wisdom. I feel like if I'll work upon it, I think I can get my fire number also and other financial obligation what I have. So yeah, I'm very happy.
Thank you, Surya, for giving us time out of a working day.
Yeah,
And
that's
we wish you all the best in terms of taking control of your money. The reason why we do this is because people should not feel like they can't do it themselves, right? The purpose of making these videos is to simplify these topics so that people feel like, hey, it's not that difficult. It is possible, right? And you are an example of that. And we wish you all the very best in terms of growing your wealth and becoming that crorepati very, very soon.